here, I obviously have the best starting hand. I'm going to have to raise, but then I'm also going to be, hoping that someone else, comes along here. I'm going to overbet a bit. And I've misclicked. That is very unfortunate. So you can see what can happen here. I just made a mistake with my keyboard. And as a result, I've got a problem. We have to bet.
Do I know it only can be these walls we built so high, so many things we left behind.
Any jack nine here.
I put my heart out on the line, I put it back 1,000 times. There's nothing more to say, I tried.
Very lucky, meaning, I made a mistake in pressing the buttons, which is going to happen. Pure luck, candidly, that purely lucky here that the person did everything. Okay, so now this spot is telling the world that, hey, I've got something good.
Have I seen it here before? Or did I show it out the door?
Check back here. Okay, so now I've got the
Know your heart is tired,
bet.
and I don't think you're coming home. This restless hope I've got some issues of my own. No, no.
Flush has made it.
What I do for you?
There's some mistakes we can make. You can certainly make one right there, which is the turn.
What I do for you?
Certainly.
Do I know it only? The reasons why you left us all.
There's no point.
Maybe one day I won't care
Not
anymore.
really much point to be playing big necessarily. You can't win the tournament here at the beginning. You can certainly go out. And that is going to drive a lot of the thought process here. So I'm going to put this now playing. Where's our young lady here? There's a clear fold. I got no interest. Out of position. Not a very good hand. So you can hear that, this is like my first time ever doing this. And I'm not going to be doing this a
I'm
lot.
sure you noticed I can do without. I'm sure you noticed I get anxious when you're not around. God knows I told you about the nightmares. God knows that was a mistake.
Not really.
I really don't want you
because my cost of
believing
entry here is
you're
zero.
everything
So,
to me.
there are going to be other players in this field that are like me. Random drawing and kind of calculating this way.
I took you wish you
So lots of
cared. I
misnomers
wish
about
you
poker,
knew how
generally
to
for newcomers.
roll.
And you know, really, what today's about is that I'm going to be playing these hands, and I'm going to be using excerpts here for people because you know the channel, the Much More Than Medicare channel, is not really about Medicare. It just happens to be the place that I'm the author of the published book. It happens to be the place that is used as the public-facing set of information. That all said, if we just cross out Medicare and put it into other financial topics, you'll be able to get to very similar analogies very quickly, very quickly. It's almost
How do I start?
very strong. So good
How do I
opening.
start?
But again, I'm
From
sitting here talking, so the answers I can't be bothered. Not here early.
How do I start?
Certainly
How do I start?
poker experts here. I'm
From
going to tell you
bottom.
the advanced morning, right? The poker experts, whoever you are out there, are going to be looking at
From where I stand,
not playing
I can see.
flop, blah blah blah.
I can
There are
see.
reasons. Part of it is because
Rising
I'm
when
bigger
it's
use for the
dark.
rest of the channel, or for the rest of the
I can feel it. Yeah, I can feel it.
only one person was live, which is fine. Largely because so if you see me like looking at stuff, I'm trying to figure out.
But down it goes.
Of course, I don't know how to add videos.
Now that I'm here, oh, it used to be so simple. It used to seem so clear. And now it was faded out. And all the lies I chose,
So, wait,
they were
these people
not
over here in the back end using
And now I know
optionality
it's not a game.
because they
Yeah,
can
you have to
dictate.
want it more than anything. Now I know
After we see this
it's not a game.
so I flop nothing.
Yeah, you have to
This
want
person can have ace or big card here and then one way behind. I can bluff here, but because I've called here, so this person has to understand, look, I could have a hand, but this is such a pile of nothing. You can defend folding there. Not even seeing cards. Again, kind of the objective here at the beginning is not to get perilously in danger where you're forced to take risk that wouldn't otherwise.
stars in my eyes.
Under the idea, well, you can't win at the beginning, you certainly can lose. And don't get me wrong, other persons here know this as well, right? Let's
On
just
earth
presume, I
I
always
will
presume,
survive,
these
but
pieces
all I
will
know
have spent a lot more time playing,
is it never
studying books,
mattered.
videos, my goodness,
One
it's like
way
an
or
entire
another.
discipline. Much like chess in a way, we'll get to the difference between this and chess later. 8, 9, we continue. Now, how do we get? There's almost no latency here. I'm just going to tell you, right? Because I don't care if someone exploits me, right? If we got to the point where I actually was in the money or something like that, which I find unlikely,
What to say?
then what
make it right. Walked away again last night. Trying to change, it's just taking time.
So that can't happen. There are all these
You
settings.
are the sun when I wake up in the morning. You're my strength when I got nothing to give. You are the reason that I'm not afraid of living. While I'm giving all I'm giving, while I'm spending my days with you. Trying to stand with my head held high, keeping in the light. But it's so easy to not feel so deserving. I guess I'll just keep trying. You are the sun when I wake up in the morning. You're my strength when I got nothing to give.
Sled trail there.
You are the reason that I'm not afraid of dying. Why I'm choosing every moment to live. Sunshine, 75, brown eyes and yellow smile. Can't breathe when you're not around. Said you're holding me down, yeah, you're holding me down. Sunshine at 75, brown eyes and yellow smile. Can't breathe when you're not around. Said you're holding me down, yeah, holding me down. Like you are the sun when I wake up in the morning. You're my strength when I got nothing to give. You are the reason that I'm not afraid of dying. Why I'm choosing every moment to live.
So awful with this streaming. I have no idea how this technology works. But there's like these things and I have no idea. So the deceiving thing here at the beginning, right, is that these, most people play by that denomination called Bitcoin, right? But the problem here is that, for this movie, what ends up happening is two Bitcoin is just right? Look like it's big fun, so it's a pretty good flop. Certainly worth the continue. Let's just see here. So this person has a clear advantage. Clubs, diamonds now. Probably gonna check and give up here. So I could certainly bluff here, right? And then, represent Big King, Big Jack.
Run the
I'm
race,
not going to.
play the crowd. Know you got it figured out. I won't say
So, I could have easily folded the winner.
anything at all.
And that, right, you accept, random outcome.
The vacant stares, the coming cost, the tidal wave that'll kill us off. This is your playground, but I'll drown.
You can see so what ends up happening is you have to respect these other
Dying
guys.
flowers, throwing the towel.
Gotten behind
And while you can still get out. I won't sit around
It's not a fold necessarily.
to watch the flame go out.
And that's largely for me because I probably underbet.
Bitter taste left in my mouth.
These crazy dynamics.
What once was love amounts to nothing now.
Nuances.
I guess I'll see
Nuances that I
you
don't have
around.
to be candid with you, right? There are professionals over here playing this. Or not necessarily
I'll sing the songs,
can be professionals.
play the crowd, but they all got me figured out. They know want you happy, babe, that's more than enough. But you want something more. We're dying flowers, so in the dark. Run while you can still get out. I won't sit around to watch the flame go out. A bitter taste left in my mouth. What once was love amounts to nothing now. I guess I'll see you around. So here I go, I'm leaving now. There just ain't much else to talk about. The words I want, they're caught up in my mouth. And all I want is to turn around and show you the tears they've emptied out. But I'm tired of the run around. We're dying flowers, so in the dark. Run while you can still get out. I won't sit around to watch the flame go out.
You know, I wasn't going to do this at all. And then what ended up happening is, what was it? This past weekend? This past weekend, you know, I've been going back and forth with a young person in the state of Arizona. And she took advantage of the American Rescue Plan.
Can't see it. Is it obvious? Is our permanent? Maybe it ain't in the cards for me. The kind of love that makes your knees weak. And I know it ain't in the the stars for me, but I can't look to you for sympathy. And I know there's things that I don't see, but God, there must be something wrong with me. The days I wake up in the morning and feel that empty space beside me. They say I'm too young to sing the blues, but I'm growing older every day. I'm growing black and blue. So I open up the lines in my own, letting the light to keep my eyes open. I've done my crying, there's no denying I'm alone. 16 miles left driving, I got stories from the road.
So nothing too interesting.
And a man I know keeps telling me to go home. Guess he don't know what I want.
Obviously, one of the
Says,
worst cards I
buddy,
can
you
find.
should ask, 'cause all
But that happens. One out of
after's a place to call my own.
person.
It's an endless search, it's an unquenchable thirst
Not
for love. They say I'm far too young to know what I want, but beg to differ, darling, they couldn't be more wrong.
And you can hear what I'm saying right now. Talking about
So I drive on down that open road, taking
Well,
the sides to keep
it was the
my
fancy
heart
poker guys
open.
talking.
Done my crying, these tears have dried, I ain't crying no more.
Basically coming down the
What I wouldn't give just to see clearly for a second. I've been searching through my head for just one thought, just one decision. I've been sitting on the fence, just waiting, wishing, hoping for some kind of sign.
You'll also hear like
But it's
the
my sign.
idea.
Yeah. I open
the hard sciences,
up the blinds
statistics,
in my
This basically comes down to how's that
in
different
the
than
light just
this,
to
matrix.
feel something.
Right, so in other words,
Done
you
my
could go to
crying, these tears have dried. I ain't
one of
crying no more.
they're just three notes.
I open up the blinds in my in the night just to feel something. Done my crying, these tears have dried. I ain't crying no more.
I'm basically right in the amount of notes here is basically infinite. And when you keep going to infinite, what do you get? You get the standard normal distribution. It turns out, so far today, I get an ace or a high quality hand right here after this big blind, which is first to act, which is really not a good place. I generally don't like lots of good outcomes, and of course, here's the difficult thing about any decisions, right? You see my cards. It's hard to convince yourself here, but it's important.
We'll stay
I have the top
inside.
pair and nut
till the sun's well up.
spade had rolled out. I went. In fact, this
Then I
brought
lose
up-
my mind every week or so.
Very-
'Cause you tell me
so,
lies
you know, the
like
thing
you
is,
mean it,
oh, I should've called.
like promises, but
That guy
you
was never
never
pulling
keep
right.
them.
He flopped 3 fours, and then he got clubs.
Do you think
So,
of me
this is
when the lights go down? Does anything feel
so anyway,
missing
you know,
when
go
the
back.
music
I
cuts
see it
out?
very, very clearly here, and
Just thought that I'd be over
this
it
just
by
a check
now.
because this is a pointless hand. I've got 5 high spade, and I've got a pair, which is no good. All these, okay, now, however, now we have 2 pairs. Now we got to.
Would keep my
Somebody would have had to get 2 spades on the flop.
on the sprawling sky.
We have to.
Yeah, it feels alright if I avert my mind. It's a mystery I can never solve, and it eats at me more than you'd imagine. Do you think of me when the lights go down?
These guys now are lucky, right? Lucky so far, very lucky. Meaning,
And
by lucky, I
I
didn't get 1 out of 52. Meaning, the luck has been that I had very good starting position cards. Very good. And then this setup came out in my favor, and then didn't get dramatically worse against me. There was just that one spot where the second ace came out on the turn, which is the 4th card for.
I would if I could only let
But
you go.
I still ended up winning, so you know we just continue on here. What's this here? I'm like telling some people that I know that I'm on here. Of course, I don't expect anyone to be here, right? I have like 0 persons following me as far as, you know, poker matters. It's just like I'm just like a guy. So what happened here is, like I said off the thumbnail, I won. I got a random spin for the $45 qualifier.
I've been driving
This qualifier
fast
is
in my
like 1
car
out of
away from home, and I'm
maybe
surviving.
we'll get to that in a
But
well,
all
1 out of
admit,
X.
miss my dog, it's
Okay, so now we
somewhat
got an issue.
violent. The kind
Because
of
this is,
bullet
you know,
has on
for
me,
tournaments,
but
this
I'll
is one of the
keep
3 best
trying
hands in poker.
until
You
it
know,
gets
you
the
have to
best
raise,
of me.
you can't let somebody get like, you know, cards and then. That said, careful. You got 2 people with
I'm
both
always
points.
hiding from knowing eyes to see right through this old disguise. I've been growing out of it like it was you. Sometimes I find it's the hardest thing to hear the truth, but I don't mind it. Now when I'm hearing
They're
it
looking
from
at their
you,
statistics, you know, programs and quotes. I'm fine there. I don't want to go out here. Right? So we have to defend.
where will I
So,
go
you know, people
now
say,
that
okay, well, you know,
I'm dear?
I've accepted
Where
that
will I find my peace?
charge the tax to the others.
Just far enough so not to hear you calling. Stop waiting up
Think
for
about commercial
me.
matters, for example, insurance company. Yeah. Well, if they know they're going to lose and pay a heavy cost,
I'm always crying about petty wounds that just won't
I'm
heal
going to
but
pay a
stay
heavy cost by
silent.
losing I've got this lattice to tell you kind of how many possible and the Poker Pros will all tell us to. You'll hear them.
Just far enough, someone say you calling. Stop waiting up for me.
Call and see it again. It's certainly not cool, but something in the software here is
Maybe I'll run away to the mountains, laying out in the open every night, stargazing. Maybe I'll leave without a
then again, I'm not a
in the
professional.
morning, no more wishing, no more
So
hoping.
this is a useless swap for me. So these three cards, I'm very unlikely to win. So I'm doing nothing. I'm going to not put a penny.
Where will I find my peace?
So I've hit two out
Just
of
far enough, someone say you calling. Stop waiting up for me. Where will I go now that I'm alone, dear? Where will I find my peace?
instead of
Waiting, just far enough, someone say you calling. Stop waiting up for me.
value bet him here. So, right, as I said, we saw the first three cards. The next card is no good, except for the next card is excellent. This is not a good opening.
You're special, kind of tragic,
Okay.
and so naturally I'm attracted to you. Don't know what it is about broken wings,
Well, 10 is the only good card here.
but I cold stone gotta have it when they're down and out and ragged, honey.
So we don't
You
any
can
idea
come
where
home with me, and I'll fix you up as good as brand new. And I say that I don't mind it, but I do. You're a charming kind of manic, but I find it so romantic. Oh, you know you really do it for me. And it really is a sickness that your bullshit is my weakness. And I don't care what you do to me. And if nothing more, you keep me on my toes. And I tell you that I'm leaving, but I don't.
All right.
Oh God, I'm so hung up on you, despite the things you do. I'm coming back for more. There's nothing like the perfect fix to take the pain for just a bit of it. You don't.
I don't know how to all these people running, streamers, people who are streaming Fortnite and
Yes, I'm a special
Fortnite,
kind
right?
of damaged.
And all the
Always craving
people are
what I
out there.
can't have. And the hardest love's the one that I want.
This is also no.
And I just can't feel deserving. This I know.
So it's crazy,
damn
right, to give you an
well
idea. your professionals here, they're looking at, okay, how many people are playing here? You know, 8-handed or 8-handed. They're going to have different strategies for every opening hand in every position. So, you know, I always laugh, you know, the poker guys go like, it's like, that was impossible. You know, this was impossible. That was impossible. You know, okay. You know, this tells you it's possible, right? Because there are only 52 outcomes, even in sequential order. I can tell you firsthand, I've seen far, far lower probability stuff happen. Far lower. Far smarter.
I am the monster. I am the monster. Don't be afraid of me, love. I am the fire. You're the gasoline. So help me believe in something more than me. You are the ocean. I'm wasting in the sand, and the water's rising. Now you reached out, grabbed my hand. We're in the salty air, collecting on my skin. I open
What it's
up
really
my
doing is
lungs
it's flipping out somebody's
to
excerpt.
sing. I am the monster, so full of wonder, dreaming in color. I'm just a lover, but call me the monster. Oh, this dreamer, I don't mind at all. I am psychotic, you know you love it. I am a monster that you've
Once again,
been falling for.
right after the
You can't
after
be
the big
blamed
line, I'm
for
first,
the world stays. So what do you say about running away?
so
Cause it's not our fault, but nothing changes. Yeah, we get blamed for things we don't have to say. Yeah, we'll make it out. We'll open our mouths, breathe into the air.
I'm going to probably call.
Shout, I am the monster, so full of wonder, dreaming in color. I'm just a lover, but call me the monster. Oh, this dreamer, I
So I'm running like the sun.
don't mind. I am the monster, difficult dark. I am the monster, deep-rooted runner. I am the monster, the hopeless wonder. If you're the hunter, well, I'm a goner, 'cause I am the monster. I am
Can I
the
get
monster,
beat
dreaming in
This person-
color.
Okay, so
I'm
this
just a
person-
lover, but call me the monster.
So,
Hopeless dreamer, I don't mind.
and that's what I said. So,
I am a monster.
So,
I am a monster,
fine,
dreaming in color. I'm just a lover, but call me the monster. Hopeless dreamer, I don't mind. Yeah.
because what happens is the number of absent chips here is right, because we're playing so early in the tournament that this thing just doesn't matter. So anyway, I get to, and of course that, as I said, I told you before the flop, right? Which is that before those cards come out, I was like, look, you know, I just have to see the card because the price
Well, I
was low
made
enough.
some mistakes
The
on
price
you.
was low enough that even if the probability
Learn
is low,
some lessons at your expense,
very hard to
and
have a
I
pair in
hope
your hand.
you know I'm sorry about.
but then when the first three cards came out,
Did what
it's
I had to
very
do.
difficult to have a set.
Didn't know what I
Very difficult. So
didn't know.
even this
And
person
I'm
I was working
sorry if I broke your heart, if I left you longing for something more. And I know you had to make that call for the both of us, 'cause I couldn't help but drown in my denial and watch it fade, a dying flood. Oh, I acted like such a coward.
Okay, so this is the second best hand in
And
poker.
I hope
Kings,
to
captains,
make it
whatever you
up
call it.
to
We
you
certainly have
somehow.
to bet. So we're looking around at who can beat us here. We have the deep stack. The second deepest stack has folded. So, I'm going to be taxing. And it's not going to be small, right? I mean, yeah. If I get beat by somebody else here, right? So I'm sure these other persons know that I've hit a lot of hands here. I've made a lot of hands that I've had to show.
Patient, I am patient, I am waiting for you, dear. I am counting up the moments back until I have you. And I am hoping, I am wishing, I am praying to my God. When I finally have you here, that it's just something that I want.
Said in game theory, blah blah blah, game theory optimal under a bunch of simulations that 2.2 times the big blinds is the optimal.
But I am tired of fighting, of holding what's inside me. It's alright, and I'm so sorry. Yeah, the cycle's never ending, and I can't fight the feeling that we are slowly sinking. That our worlds are growing distant. It's getting hard for me to live in. No, I don't wanna hurt you, wanna leave you, but I can't live with this.
The flip side to the way I played those kings there is that
and I can't take one more second.
that small lead smaller,
This ain't living.
very still
It's
likely the best
nothing
hand
I
after
would
flop,
say.
and then start
It's
charging the tax.
nothing I could change anyway.
That's up to the player. For the purposes of today's stream, that's not the way we're going to play.
Reckless, I am reckless. I'm just stupid for you, babe. I am lucid when you're gone, and when you're not, it's all a dream. I get soft and I get easy. I get lost inside your eyes. It's some sick kind of magic. I forgive you every time.
Something called Sunday at 7.
And I am tired of charming, always getting what you want. The crumbs of your heart, they don't sustain me, just enough to keep me waiting. And I can't fight the feeling we're a bomb that's always ticking. A single night could fucking end it. I'm so sick of being cautious. No, I don't wanna hurt you, wanna leave you, but I can't live with this sinking empty feeling like we're
Bad hand, nothing interesting whatsoever. Can't call this person. This is valuable, even though any two card
It's
movement
nothing I would
is
say.
not strong enough to continue.
It's nothing I could change.
Even though I have the so
No, it's nothing I could say. It's nothing I could change. Oh, you're gonna watch me walk away. 'Cause you don't know how to make me stay. It's nothing you could
that
say.
situation. Oh well, the
It's
ticket is free.
nothing you could change. Oh, you're gonna watch me walk
Why
away.
should you go for it?
You're gonna watch me walk away. Oh,
They're
'cause
gonna
I
be
am
people
tired of caring about your feelings when you spare. I know your love if it's
Still
not
running good. It's going to
consistent.
be interesting to see.
Never knowing where we're standing, and I can't fight the feeling that we are slowly dying. Like those flowers
she was actually okay. These people like no problem. You get some bad problems. But this person over here, if that has an offensive hand, that's going to be 7.9. The cost here looks like 3.5. The cost isn't. It's going to be 7.9. Right? Because if this person has any cards whatsoever, that person has one chance to get all of these extra chips. So this is a very, very tight fold. But it didn't happen. This person folded. That's an overfold, right? So, you know, if you see a poker pro, they are like, this guy is an idiot. 100%. Not after the flop, of course. Then, you know, I'm in the lead. Very likely that I'm in the lead. But we'll see. Watch these two guys and see what ends up happening. So this person... Okay, we're on a break. I'm going to take this
San
break.
Francisco, start a new life where I am unknown. Maybe go out, meet some people I don't know yet. Just wanna go, cause this desert feeling, all these people don't understand me. Since I'm alone, gonna be by the ocean. Gonna go to San Francisco, trading their lives for a gold coast. Sing for my life, play a few shows. Don't need anyone, I'll find a home. Because they all tell me I should be happy. Why are you crying? Girl, you should feel lucky. It's so simple, but if only since I'm alone, be by the ocean, yeah. Gonna go to San Francisco, trading their lives, hold on to blind hope that maybe this time things will be different. I don't know, but I'm leaving tomorrow.
see these Medicare commercials, you need to be careful. So while not wrong, not really the question you were asking. Like asking a teenage child, where were you last night? Out. Who were you with? People. Not factually wrong, not really the information you sought. We'll review coming up next.
There goes my heart right out the front door. There goes my world spinning out. Ain't got no choice but starting over. So here I am.
Sure that my computer can be overloaded. My computer isn't good.
Now I'm back in the valley, been singing your praise that are keeping my mouth shut for most of my days. And I gotta say lately, I'm missing your face like hell. And despite all my longing, I'm still seeing clearly. The first time in years I can actually put myself first. And the hurting is teaching me
I'll let you listen to
something,
Danielle.
I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure.
Check her out, Danielle Durack.
There goes my heart
Enterprising young lady.
right out the front door.
26-year-old. We'll get to her.
Spinning out, ain't got no choice but starting over. So here I am. Oh, you're calling me, crying to tell me you're sorry, to tug on my heartstrings and call me your darling, and that's what I want.
Ah, crap. I've missed a hand. I'm going to fold here, obviously.
Summer as it stands, it's been slipping through my fingers, all despite my steady hands. I just couldn't seem to keep her. But the more I think about it, the less I really wanted her.
I know how to do here. I'm sure I can figure out how to.
Summer as it stands, it's been burning me all
So it's still
over.
ridiculously early.
Terms with who I am, I just don't know if I like her. You're the one I'd like to be.
At some point it's going to speed
Seems
up. Oh, for
forever
Danielle.
out
So
of
yes.
reach.
So she's released 4.
Well, I've forgotten where I started, and I've lost all sense of focus. Seem to remember how I got here,
So we
but I
talked the other
made
day.
it back before. And how is it possible that I've lost so much so early on? I don't wanna lose it.
State school.
But I can't lose my heart. Summer as it stands,
$1,000
it's
a
been
year.
bringing out the fault lines. It gets harder to pretend of each and every day that goes by. And the lines on your face hardly make it any easier to stay. Ooh, summer as it stands, it's been ripping us apart. I'm still learning every day how to mend your broken heart. And I know it hurts like nothing that you ever felt before. Oh, but you're gonna make it, I know that you'll take it and make it so beautiful. Well, I've forgotten where I started, and I've lost all sense of hope. Can't seem to remember how I got here, but I made it back before. And how is it possible that I've lost so much so early on? I don't wanna lose it all. Oh God, I can't lose my heart. I just gotta walk down.
Hi, that's all I had.
Remember why it started.
So I probably have to call half a big blinds for sure.
Maybe a hole in the ground.
Somebody raises, I'll have a decision, but nothing.
Or just a space in the closet. Cause if it's not one thing, it's another. And if it's one thing, there's still another. But I can't pull myself together. I'm being pulled in all directions. So I can make it a little longer. Cause I'm a fighter, I'm not a goner. Nobody's said that this life would be easy, but I'm gonna make it as long as it takes me. I've forgotten where I started, and I lost all sense of hope. Can't seem to remember how I got here, but I made it back before. And how is it possible that I've lost so much so early on? I don't wanna lose it all. Well, I forgot where I started, and I lost all sense of hope. Can't seem to remember how I got here, but I made it back before. And how is it possible that I've lost so much so early on? I don't wanna lose it all. Oh God, I can't lose my Oh God, I can't lose my heart. God, I can't lose my heart. Oh God, I can't lose my heart.
So back to the pre-flop. So basically, all these people have run these simulations, right, on what are the optimal cards to be calling.
it's like from up here.
Almost four-handed poker.
Yes, I know what it's like from up
So back to here,
here.
you know, it's just not back to, you know, the jargon.
I hear the children say,
Basically, your bottom line here is that there are very few disciplines
you wanna grow up.
listen to professional poker
I hear
players
'em
describe as
wondering,
far as teaching poker to other people. And, you know, of course,
would
you
it
know,
be
things.
like?
Ultimately, they are kind of
But I
their
know
world having a 52
what
partner set
it's
of
like
and creating
this world.
and eliminating some of these branches via card
To
reading.
live
So as you get into
your
further
life
and further,
like a lonely
now you've got some
bird.
other information, and then
Yeah, I know.
information, your probabilities have changed,
Oh,
which affect the price that you're willing to pay compared to the total payout that's sitting here in the pot, right? So, you know, this dictates kind of probability. Plus, if
yes, I
your
understand.
best possible outcome, what is your possible potential upside? It sounds like a lot of what I'm describing throughout,
Because you see,
right? When I'm looking at every
I'm still a child myself.
portfolio, whether that be your
Yes, I
portfolio
understand
situation with this person, another.
how they felt.
So clearly he has taken
Because you see, I'm still a child myself. Yeah, I know what it's like in this world
I slipped. So I'm
to live your life like a lonely bird. Fly so high above the earth and never rest. Yeah, I know. Well, I know. Yeah, I know. Well, I know.
This person's eliminated. This is not a good hand. Easy to fold. So you're going to see this, you know, this narrow down rapidly here. Right. And so quite a run here for this Kev dog. A pair like, you know, these two cards are a pair like everything.
Baby, it's cold out. Won't you hold me close to you? Baby, I'm scared that you're gonna learn to hate me soon. Oh, and every time that you're leaving, I'm hoping you'll be back in time for the weekend. I know you can see it in my eyes. that it's always one more kiss before I can go home. And you best believe I'm gonna be checking my phone for that
Tell you how bad
one last good night.
Right? Most of the time you see streaming, you see like
Oh, and it's all too good to believe. Oh, that we got this love. It's more than enough. It's more than a dream. Oh, and the air's too sweet to even breathe. Yeah, falling in love. I won't give this up for anything. Maybe I can't help it.
okay.
Wondering when you're gonna leave. It makes me crazy to even imagine somebody loving you that's not me. And I know that you told me I'm always your only, and boy, I believe it's just sometimes my mind
still
gets the
nothing too
best
interesting
of me.
At some point.
It's still always one more kiss before I can go home. And you best believe I'm gonna be checking my phone for that
Kind of back to the
one
financial stuff.
last
So,
good
what happens
night.
here on a tournament is that the payouts are
It's all too good to believe
what the payouts
that
structure
we got this love. It's more than enough. It's more than a dream. Oh, and the air's too sweet to even breathe. Oh, falling in love. I won't give this up for anything. Say you love me and then I'll believe it. Say you need me and I won't forget it. Say you want me and maybe repeat it. Say you love me and then I'll believe it. Or say you need me and I won't forget it. Say you want me and maybe repeat it. It's all too good to believe. Oh, that we got this love. It's more than enough. It's more than a dream. Oh, and the air's too sweet to even breathe. Oh, falling in love. I won't give it up for anything. It's all too good to believe. Oh, that we got this love. It's more than enough. It's more than a need. Oh, and the air's too sweet to even
Am I hearing that we're not
breathe.
really
Oh, we're
hearing
falling in love. I
We're
won't give
maybe
it
hearing
up
the
for
music,
anything.
which may be better,
Falling
to be
in
candid.
love, I won't give it up. It's here in
Wonder
my
what is
heart,
going on
pumping through
here.
my
I know
blood.
that
I'm
we're
falling
playing
in
this
love.
stuff
I won't
intentionally.
give
We're looking for an
it
8,
up
obviously.
for anything.
Not willing to pay anything for it, however. Certainly not in. So, I wonder what is going on here. As you can tell, this is just like the result of not being any good at streaming more than anything else. It's never a call. So anyway, the payout structure is the following: is that the first place here is $12,334, so definitely meaningful. And 41 to 56 people are going to be paid, and they're going to be, the lowest is 314.75. So I'm in here for 0, right? And basically what ends up happening is, different people, players are going to have, very, very different objectives, right? It's not really my, thought that I'm going to end up anywhere here on top, right? That's not my view here. I just don't think that that is, I'm not experienced enough. I I'm not good enough, I don't study these things, I don't play enough, because what ends up happening is the people who play very, very frequently, they are accepting the fact that when they play these tournaments that, you know, they can easily lose. And when they easily lose and stuff like that, then, you know, they're accepting the wide variety of possible outcomes. Me, I play I wouldn't have played this tournament at all if I had to use $215 of my own money. Like, no chance. Like, zero chance. So, as a result, you know, you have very different behaviors, and that will start to become apparent, you know, I suspect, very, very shortly. Because what's going to end up happening is the persons who are not close to winning are going to have to start, you know, accepting lower probabilities of winning a hand in order to increase their chance of, you know, payout, basically. Me, I'm just kind of middling, which I kind of expected. You know, I'm sitting here in 69th place right now out of 248. Certainly not embarrassing, but nowhere close to, you know, thinking about $12,000. We've got a long way to go. So, it's very difficult to tell. You know, there are going to be other people here, and, you know, I'm looking through the names and stuff like that, and I don't really know anybody's name, so it doesn't really matter. So, here we go. Still nothing too interesting, as, you know, and this is what I'm saying, this form of poker is pretty boring. Primarily, the overwhelming amount is because the opportunity doesn't exist. And in that sense, yeah, you're just at the average, you don't really have an opinion. You don't really have an opinion. And in that no opinion situation, are you really making lots of risks? Probably not. All right, the first interesting hand in a while, ace-9 of the same suit, which is spades. So, you know, certainly a good hand. But everyone else folded, so I walked away, which is a little unfortunate, to be candid. A little unfortunate. Because I would have rather tried to win a hand where you get some chips. Instead, what happened is none of that happened. Okay, so this person could have a pair. That seemed to have a pair every hand. Not that that should matter, but I'm going to bet with top pair here and see what happens. Right? I have to tax these people to get them out. That would be a big bummer if you know, I'm not sure what is why the music, you know, I'm being told that the music's too loud.
I guess I'll try something new. But I just don't know how to make something good out of this.
229 people left. I'm 60. So you can see here what I'm saying is some risk here, and this person lost. Ahead the whole way, then lost. Here's here again, this person in the big blind. I can call here, it's 4 extra. So this is not riskless, but I'm going to call. Okay, so I lose. Very marginally played. Didn't have to call, but what ended up happening is this person had so few chips that my downside was limited. My downside was limited. So therefore I called, but you know, of course, after the fact didn't work out. And in there, you know, can be the difference between winning and losing, right? I've lost, what, 4 or 5 of these big blinds. But probably still something I have to do again. 8-9 suited is probably right on the line. Let's see here. Text here. Hold on for a second. Okay, I gotta take care of a personal matter here. I'm getting some. That's unbelievable that the music is so loud. How is that possible? I wonder if this is. Let's see here. I thought that I had turned down the music entirely, but it goes to show you that I don't know what I'm doing. Very good. The only good thing here is I'm the last to play, but any high card, why are they trying to bet? Pair.
So quick to start a fight before they even know what's right. And he is sitting there just staring back at me, and he don't expect the world, but there's something he sees in me. Does he see it in me? And he's a good man with such a good heart, but I don't wanna be the one to tear it apart. Tear it apart. I know it's all their fault. I know you've had enough and you can't take it anymore. I don't know.
So I think we're probably slipping here. You know, we haven't won any hands. is probably too aggressive a fold. Not supposed to fold that. What's this? Reset out. So sad, I have no idea what I'm doing. Desktop microphone, Synaptics audio. Let's just turn this all the way down if we will. Maybe that does it. Probably does, right? Because I think that that's what it is. It's my guess. Okay, I have 8 high. So you can see, compared to the way that we started this tournament, you know, so it's just not that I can't even continue here with 5 high. So full, 4. So you can see how boring the poker actually is. That, there's just nothing going on. You can't really force it. We're not low enough that we are put in a position where we have to force it, so we just fold. I think this is probably okay. So now we have a pair. This is not a great pair, but our competition here is not with many chips. This person, however, does. I'm going to raise and see if we can push him out and see what happens. I'm here close to this end point. So again, this has to do with optionality. The optionality meaning, the flexibility to react upon what other people do first. So this is a pretty bad flop. We have to presume that these persons who have less chips are in here with high cards. And between the two of them, one has an ace or a king or spades. So we fold. It's not to, we don't really, we got this like whole thing about, oh, well, you're right X% of the time or wrong Y% of the time, which is true. I'm not saying that, those things aren't, correct or incorrect, but that's for the players who are playing like, thousands and thousands of hands. Thousands and thousands of hands that are right and wrong X or Y%, 100 minus X% of the time. And then they work backwards to the implied, risk neutral price. That is no different. That is no different than the way that, an option works from financial markets, which is a call option on, Apple at 106 with the strike price of 160. You're trying to, the market is setting a price which evaluates and assigns an implied probability that the stock will be at 160 by a particular date. And in that, there's the direct link, absolutely the direct link here, which is, we just happen to be using chips. We just happen to be using chips, but what we are ultimately evaluating is our probability of winning a particular hand and what the payout will be if that were to occur. Well, we have that in financial markets. We have it and we've got a singular construct. We have a singular formula to actually calculate this, right? Is not this is not anything at all which is a mystery. Right? There are many experts in this field that whose sole job is to kind of think through the probabilities of, Apple reaching 160 and then assigning a price. But this is what option traders do. So I'm trying to show you. It's somewhere here on my computer. I'm sure of it. Well, I know this is because, when I'm explaining to other persons, and here we're getting straight into it. Given the fact that I've just described this idea about, the price of the pot or the price of these bets and the amount of payout here compared to their cards that they have. So all the players are trying to evaluate the probability of winning, and then what the payout is if they end up winning. And they're trying to get the optimal amount. So now you can easily attach that to, again, the option at Apple at 160. Right? Someone has an idea about what the price will be later. And there are instruments that trade, and they have an agreed upon market clearing price. All right, so where is this guy? We will get to it very shortly. I hate to tell you this, but if you watch the other channels and they're showing you the tournaments and stuff like that, they're all doing the same this same type of thing, or except for they're better than I am, of course. Nothing but a check here. We can't really continue. Yeah. Hands getting worse. Notably worse. We'll get to where we are going, and let's get a refresh here. We can't really. So now we were just, we were in 20th place after hitting all those hands at the very beginning of the stream, but you can see now, erodes. Because for every hand that passes by, you have to pay a couple chips to go into here called the ante. And you get this erosion, right? You're long a bunch of options. One of the elements against you is time. You don't get to have time pass without, and be neutral. So, this is every bit a financial option, right? The element of every financial calculation, no exceptions, is the element of time. Now, it just so happens that to make this seem less interesting to people is the fact that, okay, I'm going to have to raise here. The hand's too strong. I need some people out. I have to think about what happens here. Snap checked. About 50-50 here. A pens the nuts. Little tight there. Could certainly call, you know, I've not done well after the flop, as you can see. So what's happening is the number of chips here, you could see it was me and this person largely in the lead, and now, you know, these two people have caught up to me. Certainly 3 people have caught up, so now I'm just somewhere in the middle. There's a fold. No, still a fold. Okay, I'm distracted because I'm getting emails and stuff like that, which is like nuts. It's kind of a problem when you're trying to... So why, you know, you can certainly ask why the stream, and that's fair, right? I could have done this without sharing it with you, like at all, and you know, that could have been the case. The real reason is kind of because over here, you're going to see it, you know, quite clearly, quite obviously. Right. So this is a formula here, which is the Black-Scholes formula. This is that call option on Apple, right? Which looks, you know, very complicated. It is to some degree. It is complicated, but it stops being complicated when you see this ND1 here. You see, I'm putting the mouse over the pointer over ND1. Maybe I am. Yeah, I think I am over ND1. Literally, and no exaggeration, right? That is only all that is this. ND1 is just the standard normal distribution. So now you can understand how it's similar to poker, right? Because we had discussed earlier in the stream that when people are, you know, the poker professionals are out there and saying we should do this, we should do that, they're considering combinations. Now, I don't think he has a king because he would have tried to protect the king, given... All right, so now I'm probably wrong. Okay. I didn't think he had a king because there were 2 hearts. So if he had an offsuit king, you can't have a king of hearts. King of hearts was on the board, that he would try to bet a little bit to try to push me off and try to win the pot, but he didn't, which could have just been him being, you know, trying to conceal his true intent. But that was a risk I had to take at that moment. Nothing too dramatic. He could have easily bluffed the ace at the end. So anyway, if we go back over here, basically what's happening is when people are they're telling me that dropouts exist and all that kind of good stuff, so I have to blow away some of this stuff. Fold this. I wonder why this is... That's not good. Outlook, you gotta go. I see. This guy, you definitely have to go. I should do it. We should be okay for now. Okay, so now, I'm going to say that, you know, we're almost certainly having to be a bit more aggressive here. So, you know, depending on what the professionals say, they may say, okay, well, you need to run a balanced strategy, meaning that you can remember at the earlier part of this, I flopped 3 of a kind when the other person had ace king. You know, there's this idea of balanced strategy, meaning that sometimes that you're trying to hide super strong ace king with a bet which isn't that aggressive, right? He had ace king, 2.2 big blinds is what he led, which wasn't worth very much. Now I'm in position here. I could have an ace. It's unlikely that somebody called with a 2. It's likely that I've called with somebody has called with an ace. I'm gonna bet, and I'm gonna bet bigger than what other people would normally think. I'm gonna find out real quick here if someone's got a king. So that person had to fold, right, because they can't afford to lose 3.8. So that basically, the flip side is that's the point of poker, right? Which is that my tax rate was too high for this person. So unless they almost for sure had an ace or a deuce, I forced them to fold, therefore making the payout structure for this person to not be favorable, right? If I made the bet at a certain number, that person calls. Now this person's the implied odds, meaning the amount of payment to call versus the possible payout, all of a sudden changes the cost payout ratio. To a poker player, everything, the experienced poker player, they're rolling their eyes right now because that is second nature. To the person who never has played poker, they're not thinking in these terms. To a person who, after saying it out loud, they kind of shrug their shoulders and say, well, that's obvious. And that's kind of the point, right? Which is crazy people write books about certain topics, which are really about your rights and options and the implied payout at that price for situations. Literally, that's it. Medigap, Medicare Advantage, these things that you see, Jimmy Walker commercials on, which I'll have a video in my commentary on all of the things that are not exactly right, have to do with the fact that under Medicare, for example, you have certain rights and options. And if you don't know them, okay, so this is like a crazy thing. I've flopped the best possible hand. I almost can't be beaten. So we're going to let him bet. We're pretty close. We're going to want to have, so I want him to have 2 diamonds, and we have all this stuff. So this is a bad card because now I'm going to bet and he's going to fold because he doesn't have a 4. If he's got a 4 and an ace, I'm going to get all his chips, but he has neither of them, so he has to fold. Or 2 diamonds. So obviously a bit better here. I'm going to... We'll have to see. I'm going to be raising whoever's going to be betting here. If we get a bet, I'm definitely raising. This person's got to be out. All right, so we need to make this fairly painful because these other persons... So I can go out on this, right? I mean, I can lose here. We got one. Okay, it's not likely now. So he better have jacks or two spades. If he doesn't, we're going to end up keep betting and see what happens. Okay. So can't really be that afraid of spades. I could be afraid that he has another spade. You could easily say that, well, that's just the risk of the game, right? Obviously the best starting hand possible. I raised, and didn't expect, someone out of, in such a position. Okay, so we're being put to the test here. So these persons can push. Okay, this just call is interesting. I'm not sure why this person just. I'm gonna check. Okay. No one had a king. Kings would obviously call me 2 seconds. So 174 people left, 330? So about half the field is gone. You can tell, how slow this is. This is not like a activity that you're going to oh, well, in 2 hours, you're going to turn $215 into $11,000. That's not going to happen. Not very glamorous. So that you can see right here was, this person went all in. So he's now, at risk. He or she, can't be sexist about this. I'd be 90% right, or, higher than 90%. It's fine. Where did our young lady go? Where did our young lady go? Okay. I think Danielle entered her name into some kind of NPR. I'd seen her name somewhere, I don't know, just in surfing or something like that. I follow music, to some degree. Oh, thank goodness. I need a break. I need a break. All right, so let's just see what we're going to do here. All right.
just can't feel deserving. Yes, I know damn well I earned it through the blood and sweat and tears I gave for you. And I wonder when it is that I'll learn. But I just don't know how to stop feeling so painted fires, the face you show, the world you know. Wish that could see you with eyes closed. A burning fire, a simple heart turning to stone, turning into stone. Put on the mask and act your age, but when they talk, what do they say? It's just a game, and you obey.
Okay, we got lots of time. What I didn't realize on the stream is that, somebody told me that all they could hear was the music. Which isn't the worst thing. Maybe that's better than me. Not sure how illuminating my comments would be. So, where are we? 49th out of 174. Which is okay. It's kind of what I would expected, generally speaking. Like I said, I'm not expecting to win by any means. That's for professionals and stuff like that. I'm sure there are people who play professionally who, are in the state of Michigan who are able to play in here. That will not be a surprise, to me, like, whatsoever. Let's just see. So you can see here that I think that I can, I have 125,000 chips. The leader has 409,000. So, that's like a different solar system. That's not to say things can't change in the right situation, because you can see this person here has, between the two of us, we have the most, but, we can't lose hands to these people because, that would obviously, damage our chances, tremendously. The top 56 people get paid. The minimum payment is $327.83. The top prize is $12,800. So again, this is, for 215 to that number is a big number, obviously. So this is why people play tournaments. Then again, the probability of winning is not great, right? 1 out of 300, is not obviously, very good. And then also that's assuming pure randomness, which, this is not going to be, right? Meaning that the best players are going to ultimately rise to the top unless some crazy amount of randomness starts hitting, which is possible. I'm not going to say it's not possible, but, and that's where you see dreams, you saw like, that's the popularity of this game relative to chess, for example, right? The idea that I would ever beat a chess player in a single game is that's like, 0. Right. I mean, they would have to make such a blatant error. They'd have to make an error that, they've not made for, decades. Unless, the grandmaster is 9 years old, of course, then maybe, to them in the time continuum, maybe, maybe they've only been playing for 3 years or something, 5 years, certainly probably before they could read. And then in which case, still, again, the chance of winning is almost nothing when it comes to trying to play chess against the grandmaster. And that's kind of the allure of this game, right? Which is that, the barrier to entry here is as democratic as it gets. So these persons are going to be playing carefully against each other. Very carefully against each other, because one of the three of them, if they got into too big a pot, you will have a problem. One of them could have had a problem. We're not going to get there, I don't think. But yeah. So you can see it and their behavior, right? Because they're not willing to put the risk where a huge percentage of their stack can go in, because that would damage their chances for the payout. So, poker is interesting in exercise from understanding how people make decisions. Now I'm going to have a big decision here. Obviously very, very big, good hand. We're hoping that one of these small guys throws all their chips in. That did not happen between these two people over here. Very likely that they're not folding. Well, obviously not going to fold. This person I'm going to end up trying to have to push out. This person weirdly folded. So I'm actually going to be betting quite a bit. Compared to where we are going here. If this person happens to have a pair and be aggressive, we're going to end up calling. Okay, so now I'm only aware of only a problem with clubs. I'm going to bet small. Now, there's risk here. I could lose, but I'm going to end up having to call. So we'll have to see what happens. Okay, so, yep. And that's the randomness of the game, certainly. He had best pair and a big second card, but I had the absolute biggest second card. So I was afraid of ace 3, ace 6. Not very likely to call my ace, my large pre-flop bet. Here, I have the best pair and the best kicker, obviously, but I still have to be careful because I am not in a good position. I am first to act, and if one of these guys raises, they could have randomly gotten, Jack 4, or more likely, they could randomly have 2 hearts. And in which case, I am in a fair amount of trouble. Now, against 4 big blinds, I'm not as in big a trouble here. And so now I'm going to probably lead. Let's just see here. Okay, so we're going to call. Yeah. So not particularly difficult there, right? Because I have the best pair. I have the best kicker. I'm going nowhere in that instance. I've been moved tables, so something's going to get screwed up, I'm pretty sure. We'll have to see. Of course, I don't know what I'm doing here on this streaming thing. So that's an issue. We'll try to get together in a few moments. You'll bear with me because I don't know what I'm doing on streaming. Like whatsoever. Like not at all. I'm going to fold a 6 against all in. So nothing too complicated. No real, the poker players like to call it, oh, this is a sweat or whatever. Nothing too controversial here since the very beginning of the stream when that ace came out on the turn and I had to pair and then made a flush at the end. So I could have lost to a bigger flush. I could have lost to a full house, but not likely. Let's see here. Let's see if I know how to. I'm trying to figure out how to. Blah, blah, blah. I don't need that. So let's remove. Move these other things here. What's this window? Where's my seat? This is a clear fold. All right. So I have no idea of what I'm doing, of course, so this is kind of the issue. I have literally no idea of how to. I think this does it. There we go. Fold this, which is a tight fold. Hindsight 2010, I'm happy to fold, even though seven could have been good, but not against 49 and 47 big blinds, too damaging if I lose. Oh, and a person who can't really give, they just can't. So bad. And the reason it's bad is because I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to streaming, like at all. So what ends up happening is, you're trying to have these like windows and I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know, the people who actually do this. Online series, I think this is it. Yep. We're back. All right. What's happening here? Just lobby. Nobody cares. It's going to be interesting to see, because I had to get Danielle's permission to play the music. You can't just sit out there and just like, hijack someone's music and put it out here. But just to support a new young person, Danielle Durack. Like I said, that she's the real deal. Person in her 20s, new client out of Arizona, Scottsdale. Which is kind of a very, very good place for clients, for, ourselves. Very expensive cost of living, stuff like that. Okay, so the one thing is that, I have to learn who these new people are. I've been moved tables. I think, this person over here, was at the prior table. I'm going to fold. I'm going to need to observe people for a bit here. Which is our normal course of operation, just to see what people are trying to do and who's trying to just like go nuts here. So obviously much better now. We're in 16th place, which is better than I would have expected. Of course, helps to have, the best hand, two big hands in a row. We put one person out to almost double our amount, and then a person with smaller amount of chips also, had that person beat. They didn't have any choice. And in that way, again, you're talking about payout versus cost. You absolutely are talking about payout versus cost. Right? And so again, we're back to my topics on, this book that I've written. Right? I mean, you're 900 pounds and you have 90 units of insulin a day. You need access to home runs. You do. You almost irrespective of the cost. Almost, Jabba the Hutt is price insensitive. Why? Because his probability of getting benefits is so high that the cost, even if it seemed exuberant, aren't. Very simple. And, again, I use this analogy on a poker stream, and, everybody immediately understands it. Immediately. The thing here is the following, is that so nothing I said here on the stream is any news to anyone who is, intermediate poker player at best, right? Nothing, not a single thing. So you would have thought that person would be able to simply port over their information from over there to over here, which happens to be this is a spot I can call, but I hate the small blind. So I fold. And my behavior is going to change too here, and I'm going to explain that. So what's happening here is that, so you would have thought, for example, that there's no way that the intermediate poker player gets anything that I said about Jabba the Hutt wrong. Right? No chance. You'd be shocked. I promise you here. So, for example, August 15th, 2 days ago, what passed by was a free look option to see if health insurance can be $0. So the reason, I have all the time in the world for Danielle Durack here is because she's not a financial person, as far as I know. She's a musician. When she understood what the cash flow and the possible payouts are, and her insurance was, way under $100 a month, that at that price, the payout now reasonable. Nevertheless, somehow there are still 15 million people with no health insurance who are not on Medicaid. They all did not check this out. I promise you. Here's the trick here's one thing of poker is it's hard to get this out of your mind, right? I've got the nuts here. 3-5. Yeah. I have the winner, but there's still no situation that I'm calling this hand before the flop. Just not. And in the same way, in financial situations, again, right? Something didn't turn out exactly as you hoped for on the prior instance. It is hard. It takes discipline to say, yeah, that was the outcome. That's this whole thing of, these messages I tell people, right? Monday morning quarterbacking, hindsight is 2010, et cetera, et cetera. Right? You'd be shocked. And in fact, I'm going to show it to you. Show it to you after this hand here. That can't be it. All right. Wow. Randomness involved. Crushed. Randomness involved. Even when everything in your favor, randomness still involved. I'm surfing on another screen to pull up something poker related, and you'll understand the point when I get to it. Yeah, here we go. I wonder what's happening here. Crappy hand, but we'll have to see if this person wants to engage. I could certainly shove him off this hand, right? But I'm going to choose not to. Let's just see. Okay, so, this is almost like immediate fold. Check here. I don't know why I didn't bet. Oh, I missed the time. Ugh. That was a screw up. Yeah, now I have to give up. We'll get to where we're going in a moment. So I'm going to give up. Yeah. You know, I should have, you know, if what happened is I misclicked, meaning that I didn't hit the bet in time. So I wasted 1.9 blinds there, which is kind of a dumb. So I'm just going to fold here. So over here, I'm going to show it to you. Okay, so now we got a spot again. So we'll have to see here on whether the small blind is going to call my raise, which I'm almost certainly going to raise. I'm going to go all in against this guy, obviously. We've got to be fairly forceful against the small blind. Yeah. I don't want to call here, to be candid. I'm going to be run down. Right. And so now we got an issue. So, you know, you could certainly have a 10 here. Yeah, we're in trouble. This is a check and see if we can, you know, get an ace or a king here, and we'll see. Nope. No bueno. So, you know, we can certainly bluff him off this hand. But he's can sit with, we call bet off his. That's not good. He's going to call. That's my guess. Maybe he's looking at his statistics and his, I don't know what he's going to find out if he, I don't know. You know, there are all these tools called, and I don't even know what it stands for. What does HUD stand for? Yeah, God damn it. That stinks. That was somewhat painful. It's a good call by him. Not sure if that was the right call by him or not. Well, it was the right call by him because it went his way. It's okay, it's going to happen. I'd rather it didn't. Let's see if we can get this and show this to you. This is really one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Crap, I gotta concentrate here. So those who don't know, you know, Landon Tice and, you know, this person here, Bill Perkins, they played in a heads-up match, and they play for a bunch of money, blah, blah, blah. And check. I'll give up here. We're in early position. We need heads up here. It's a big bet. Right, if I go down here, then you know, go down, so it's fine. Need to stop the bleeding. And in that situation, there's your perfect example of, you know, poker pro versus, you know, guy who doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Right, which is that I'm sure on the grids or whatever it is that, you know, optimizers, solvers, et cetera, they would have found that to be an excessively high raise. I get it. So again, this is that thing where somebody's going to say, oh, well, you know, only a poker pro can understand like the theory behind what somebody's doing. It just is not as, and in financial matters as well, your common sense and logic can dictate, is depending, and it can be from whatever walk of life. It really does not have to be from, you know, financial markets, or you know something about insurance or this or that or the other. Anyway, let's get back to this. So this video here, you remember I was telling you that, you know, it seems obvious, you know, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that in poker. And simply, you know, that I had compared it to these other payout structures and other financial instruments. I showed you a formula and a lattice, all that kind of stuff. Right? Which all looked fancy, and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. You know, I don't have time to. I should probably be paying more attention. I didn't want to call that because somebody's leading straight after the blinds to that degree, meaning very likely a very good hand. Ace 9 is okay, certainly, but I'm not that interested. Half a blind, you know, I'm going to call, but I'm not going to be excited here. I'm not obviously very unexcited here. Completely out of position. Still a check. First person to bet, which isn't going to be me. Still not here. I was hoping for a 9. A 9 would have been fine. King high winning, out of position. Pass. This person can't really bet unless they got something. They've got to try to take this down. Right? 7 big blinds. We got to fold. So they got a 6. And they're going to bet a 6. So, yeah. Ace 6 offsuit. Something like that. It's still bet. So let's go back here. This guy, so you would have thought a poker pro would have understood the payout structure and the odds. How this poker, and if you've ever listened to this person, Landon Tice, he's the one on the left there, right? He can't even drink. He's a pro. You know, if you look around and click around on the internet, you'll find him. And you can actually even hear him talk through hands on something called Solve for Why. And this is Matt Berkey's website. Shout out to them. I'm not affiliated with them. High quality stuff there. It cannot be faked. No possible way that information is coming off this Landon Tice's head on analysis of his hands off the top of his head, and fake it. This is not happening. So what ended up happening here, however, is the structure of the wager he made against this businessman were very negative against him. And literally, when I heard what the terms and conditions actually were, he ended up giving up enormous parts of this, right? He ended up giving up lots of stuff here. I'm going to fold. The point of that, I made a long video about this, is like, right, you're a pro. If this stuff out here starts happening in either end on random exercises, that's when a pro wins, right? That's when the expert wins. It doesn't matter what the topic. Does it even matter? No, I mean, yeah, you could say in general that you're a good athlete, but if that person's a specialist in a particular sport, you got a problem. You're not going to win. Okay, here we've got it. All right, we're going to be back to balance, I think, here. I'm not overly enamored. Of course, jacks is a double-edged sword. The big stack sits at the button, who's probably not going to be pushed off. So unless I bet huge, he's okay. So now, however, different. So he's called the big blind for 1.2 blinds. He could have an ace. He can have a bigger spade. He's going to have me on an ace. Yeah, he didn't have an ace. He didn't have a spade. I breathe a sigh of relief. I don't have to face further tests. Early position, no good. Okay, so, back to Landon Tice. So he spotted him 9 big blinds out of 100. Okay, so these guys would have been able to tell if you downloaded all his hands, which is completely possible, and analyze all the hands, the way that he plays, and put it up against the simulation against himself, whether or not 9 was fair, right? Whatever that estimate of difference is, let's say you're better than me by X percent, there would have been able to have an estimate. But the issue here is if you just take a look at the lattice, what he gave away. So what ended up happening is, you can see my mouse here, right? They started out here at even, and then Bill Perkins, the businessman, started to outperform. Landon Tice needed to end up over here. Except when he gave away certain paths due to the fact that they got to reset the stacks, that path cut off some of these extra branches of this lattice. Simple as that. Literally as simple as that, right? 9 may or may not have been the right number. If you're going to give away this lattice, in other words, you're the superior player, you're the one with the advantage, you don't want to give away these other outcomes here at all at that time. No way. No chance. So you can remember earlier in the stream, people were putting me into it seems like the software is putting me in the spot here with giving me huge hands at first to act. The issue is, we got somebody with a hand, so we're not as afraid now. Somebody's going to call in late position. We know that. That's presumable. We'll just see how a flop comes out, and let's just see how it goes. This person can. Okay. So he's got either a pair or just a pure or spades or a bluff. We can't beat any of those three, so we have to fold. Anyway, back to landed. So, and you can see how this comes down to financial matters, right? I spent a lot of time in this stream talking about how to think through this lattice and what paths are going on, right? Your job of the hut, your 900 pounds, guess what? Your likelihood of needing medical care and incurring huge healthcare costs, you're way out here. You don't give this tail away for anything, right? Because you need protection to get there. Landon Tice, he needed to get this tail. Why? Because in the scenario that he was down, he needed to have a way back out. He gave it away. Now, giving it away could have just been handled by lowering the handicap, right? Meaning that if you're going to cut off the tail, that could have been okay. In other words, then if they had some estimate, then the difference was never 9. So what had ended up happening, right, is after X number of hands, only 25% of the challenge was completed. Then they did analyze the hands. And the people behind Landon Tice realized, oh, 9's too high. And oh yeah, we don't have a path here because we thought through, we're down here, we needed to get up here. We don't have a path here because even outlier situations, they're cut off. Why? Because they, every time that one person got up, reset the stack. And I'm not saying this to call Landon Tice a moron or an idiot or anything like that. By no means. If you ever see any videos that he's in, cool guy, obviously very good at poker, stuff like that. What it really tells you is that people abandon stuff that they have full command of. Right? In a hand, he has full command of what's going on. He's going to tell me to fold 7-9 here out of the small blind, right? But my point is that he abandoned his expertise when it came to this contest, this challenge, ended up costing him. This is the mistake, the financial planning mistake, which is everywhere. I'll get to my next anecdote. What are we doing here? I wonder how we're doing in the tournament. I try not to look too frequently. Yeah, we're still okay, but still a long way to go. You can see that those two hands that hurt us pretty bad. That ace king was called down with a pair of 7s and with a 10 with quite a board. He really had me on Broadway cards only. King, queen. Probably had me on king, queen. Something like that. Probably the wrong call by him, but the right outcome. Candidly, you can't call a 7s with, that would have been 4th pair. He called me with 4th pair. Out of position. So, and the problems go on and on, right? They really do. Because if you look at this thing, what ends up happening, and this is the see, I won, I'm right. See, I won, I'm great. So on that hand, right, I had ace king on the button, uh, you know, stay at home dab. He had sevens, turns out, and I bet 3 times. He called 3 times with a pair of sevens. He's not on top pair. He's not on second. He's on fourth pair. Called down. And then, some of the, so yeah, he could have evaluated the hand tree, right, and said, okay, why am I leading on the, but that's why people, and now you can understand the logic of why, the pros are saying, well, you will just want to lead a standard race size, even with big hands sometimes, blah, 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 and randomizer this, randomizer that. It's basically telling you that, the fancy poker jargon that people use, is just jargon, but in other fields, other locations, other disciplines, that identical thing is going on. Now, in his defense, right, he could have analyzed and said, I never see this guy play. He never plays in tournaments. I never played with him. Have I ever seen that name? I don't know. Maybe he had some notes. There are calculators which actually measure how frequently somebody bets. There are actual tools. And maybe he looked at the tool and then, which I don't have, that's for serious players. I don't even have one. Basically then worked backwards, and in working backwards kind of figured, well, the only thing that I led and bet this number of bets was with 2 Broadway cards. So this is why you don't see me like, being overly critical, right? Fourth pair is showing a fair amount of either like absurdity or the flip side, the other tail of this possibility is, someone who very, very carefully thought through the hand. That is a possibility I have to, respect. Let's see if we can get back to Danielle here. Oh, there we go. Oof. Izilla stays alive. Gets a 10. Magic 10. Clear check. And no interest in this hand whatsoever. I want a free card here. How do I get a free card? I got lucky and hit actually, I could have done doing that any case, because at 7.5, he can't go out if he doesn't have, very good hand. compared to the flop. So even if he thought I was purely telling a fib, he can't really continue. So it's so if we go back to the topic, right? I mean, now you can understand why I have, and that's actually ultimately why I'm supporting this person. And by playing her music, she gets a penny or something like that for every YouTube music view. And she doesn't have enough viewers and stuff like that. And, you can imagine how difficult it is to be a musician. But in a completely unrelated field to her background, when explained to her what insurance would be and what it would get at that price, which was way less than $100 a month in a place, Arizona, where the sticker price would have been, $300 a month. Well, $300 a month to a young musician on her own, that is food, right? Right? I mean, but at a much lower number now, it becomes a low cost turn card, right? In which case, she just used her common sense. And don't get me wrong, I mean, music is a mathematically driven, exercise as, art, if you will, right? I mean, a major key and a minor key are, for example, C major to E, E flat. Hold on a second here. Yeah, we're still going to have to call. I should probably raise here. That's what the solvers are going to say. That's what he's going to say. Yeah. No question the pros are going to say call. All right, I'm going to fold. No question the pros are going to say call this. I told you I'm bad but unlucky. So, Danielle Durack, I just told her, like, look, just think of yourself, look at your cloned sister in Arizona who now gets access at that price, who decides they're going to have a child. Right? What's the cost versus the payout? See, and this is a problem here because King 10 is, now I'm calling this one too. So I've, given away a blind on the King 10 without challenging for 3.5 blinds. And now, the question, and this is just inexperience for me online, blah, 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 somebody could easily have said, I'm supposed to call. Okay, so this is interesting. So I have top pair. Did they flop to hearts? I doubt it. Right, it's not likely. We're pretty close to the same stack, so we're gonna have to tread a bit carefully here. But I'm gonna bet with top pair, and he's got to respect the idea that I could have a heart, but he could have big heart. So I have no hearts. So you can see play has tightened notably. I'm going to do it in kind here. That's not a fold either. So I'm very sure that the experienced players that are going to be playing a tournament every single day, they're trying to get the $13,000, right? They're ripping it in. And, of course, and then that said, the follow up is, oh, hindsight being 2020. So, as every non-robot has to say, you got to shake it off and have a very short memory the next time that you decide to make the decision along the same lines. And now I'm very unhappy, right? Because the chance of them having a 4 is almost zero. So they're having a superior to my King Jack is almost zero or very, very low, certainly worth continuing. And they get King 5, right? King 5 wins. So, you know, in that sense, too conservative there pre-flop. Uh, no question. And I knew that in advance, right? I mean, it's one thing to say, "Oh, I should have called with my 3-9 offsuit," and then 2 3s hit the board. Okay, yeah, it's different there. Last hand I had King Jack. I'm supposed to at least call for sure. Do I call a big raise? Probably not. But it probably worth the option, the price to see, the option to see what goes on here on the lattice at one big blind, probably worth an opportunity lost. Some people out there, oh, well, I'm going to get it back next hand. I'm going to revenge bet. It's like, okay, good luck. This is a garbage hand. I'm going to fold. Just because. Why am I going to fold? Just because. All right. Here's the problem with tournaments. This takes way too long. What time is it? I've been playing for 3 hours. I've not moved. 148 people. How many people are left in this thing? 119 left. Okay. So coming closer to the point where people are going to make money or not, I'm going to go on break. The hell is this? didn't use enough of the allotted time. So I think there's enough material for excerpts for a new video for people who are, and really the point here is not because I'm trying to build a poker following. Obviously not. You know, there's some people who have, like, I don't know, 100,000 views easily per video. What do they make? I think it's like 0.2 cents or something like that. 0.2 cents per view. Got to remember to turn this down. Okay, so back to the alleged action. No idea what the lobby says. And again, you'll have to forgive me that, you know, I know other streams have like snippets of the payout and stuff like that. So 5-6 of spades, clear call at the minimum, not good position. Top 64. Top 64 get 323.97. I'm going to fold here. Yeah. Can't continue here. So the way this works is, you know, this field's very likely to shrink pretty rapidly here as we get to the 64th position. And then we're going to see other combinations of stuff going on. We'll have to see. We'll have new terms, new poker terms, and new analogies. Almost for sure. Easy folds. Let's see here. That kind of sucked. as expected, accelerating here. So the randomness will start to definitely take hold here because, we're at a critical juncture as people come close to either making money or using 4 hours of their day, getting nothing for it. We'll have to see. What am I trying to do here? I'm trying to pull up this picture for you. But we're not quite there. Somebody's all in. Wins. Can't continue here. Let's see. Yeah. Just going to fire one shot at it and not much more. 7's not going to be good post flop at all. Just big enough to get him out. Right. So let's shut this down here. Oh no, what'd I do? $14,652.04 to the winner. Lowest payout $323.97. Those are the pay amounts, and first things first. And this is what I'm saying about my inexperience here, which is that it is likely that the very experienced players are going to be looking at the value of hands and their aggression, their trying to take advantage of me, for example, the fact that I don't play, and that this kind of thing, and certainly not for 3 hours. It's like, no way. So using betting patterns to try to tell stories, to try to get me away from particular situations that I should normally be calling or raising for example. So, this is a challenge for me, and every person when they're talking about play and payouts and stuff like that, and not surprisingly, we'll have an analogy coming up, like pretty much right now. So I got to push out both the magician and just because. So I'm still a bit in betting. Question is, what if just because goes all in? Yeah. Now, I think this is a bluff, to be candid with you, but I can't continue for my whole stack here with 10 high, even though this is a very good hand to watch the flop for sure. I'm gonna fold. Probably didn't want to lose that hand. At this point in the tournament, every blind going to be very important. So now we're going to get to it. So, as we get to the end here, and this is always true. Nice to have a full house. Run good at exactly the right time. So the behavior of the players is going to look a lot like this, which is from financial markets. This is not, a poker thing at all. Again, back to our analogy to financial payouts, et cetera, et cetera. And poker, just, as we get to this part of the tournament where you're either going to get your entry fee, which is $215, in my case, 0, up to the $300, which is, a return on investment of 50%. What's going on here? So what'll end up happening is people have to be considering, the downside. You can see this orange line here. They're going to start to give away blinds, and then what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I have 7 high here, which is not very good. This person, very likely taking advantage, may even know who I am. It's possible. Very possible. I was considering raising on him, but says, well, let him have it. I'm supposed to call there. Just wait. I'm going to wait out the storm here a bit. Not very happy. Not particularly good. So as I've this decline, you can see it 68 out of 102. Now I'm in the bottom third from the top third. That we're going to start to get in the position where I'm going to have to start doing slightly better. We'll have to see how it goes. And while not an emergency, so if we take a look at this diagram here, right? I mean, this kinked line in both up and down, right? I mean, this is absolutely the kinked line of, you know, this format of the line. Okay, and again, this format of this particular line has one, oh, here we go. Okay, you know, this can be the end of the tournament here for sure, depending on the reaction of others. Because I am not folding this hand. So if someone raises here, they're going to get the all-in. If someone raises here, they get the all-in. It can be here. Nope. While I'm not that happy about putting your tournament life, you know, all at one spot, that probably is a good spot. I'm not actually that happy that there were no callers, or I was actually hoping that the magician would raise. That kinked line, it's got one formula. Here it is, literally. So when I'm talking about financial topics of every sort, okay, this is a clear fold. I can't call 7 blinds, 6 extra blinds. When I'm talking about every financial topic, I am evaluating basically what is going to go on here, which has everything to do with that the hockey sticks, whether that be up or down. Either situation. Yeah, it's not good. So you can see the dynamics here closer to the end. The experienced players, the people with few chips are trying to push people out. Right? Very clear. Very clear. Right? 9, 10 of clubs, I got pushed out. Ace King, unfortunately, nobody called. It's this combination of randomness that I did not want to see, like at all. Right. Right, and not coincidentally, this hockey stick diagram here, right, is in fact represented by this formula. That's it. That's it. And if you think about this formula, if you think about these hockey sticks, do you face these hockey sticks? Yeah, of course you do. Who are you if you're the orange line? You're Mr. Perfect, then all of a sudden you find out when you're 40 years old that you have a DNA marker and that you're likely to face a world of, ALS. And this is your household net worth. Okay? Your only hedge is to buy the buyer. Right? The only thing, in other words, you need to be buying an option. What's the name of an option? Insurance. Insurance is an option. And that's it, literally. Right? So how is that different here than what we are doing here on this game, where we are trying to evaluate our probability of going up this line or going down in this hockey stick faction? Why do we know this? Because when we pull these diagrams away, I have to fold here now. What's going to have to happen here is that with less big blinds left, we're going to have to be a lot more selective about our position and the cards we play, because one of the big stacks is going to start pushing around. You can see it, fluff head pushed in against one big blind. This is somebody who doesn't want to see, he just used pure aggression to try to win a big blind, a single big blind. Right. Maybe I'm going to run into Ace King. Where were we? Oh yeah, and by the way, right? This thing over here, right? Again, this ND1, ND2, sitting there on this formula, very complicated looking formula, right? Pretty complicated looking. I'm not disputing that. This is not a good time to be getting, 3-6 offsuit, by the way. Again, ND1, ND2. That's its graphical representation of ND1, ND2. Something that everyone has seen. So you can understand that somebody, medical doctor says, oh, I don't understand insurance at all. I'm like, impossible. impossible. It has just never been correctly explained to you, using this formula, this payout diagram. Okay. This person had no choice. So we're down to 15 big blinds. Not surprising. So today is not really that big a surprise to me in terms of how I would do. Right, the pattern of when I would win or lose is random. But but here at the end, we've not had the hands required, right, in order to go like this, right? Almost none. Ace King we had, but nobody was in to play. So as a result, I could have limped and had nothing and just not bet at all, but that would have ended badly. And this is the variance of the game, right? This is, when poker players say, oh, this is, randomness. That's true. This is telling you right? This is telling you it's random. So, this is why, these physics guys are like crazy people, in the science world. You know, this is how particles move through space, through, the air. That's how they know it. That's how they know it. This is why, physicists are all over Wall Street. Why? Because they are strictly educated in the science of this random particle movement. Literally, that's it. And it's back to why poker, okay, well, we've got these fancy, this fancy jargon. Just, it's not taking anything away from Landon Tice, right? Matt Berkey, whoever, Doug Polk, whoever these people are, they're studying basically their own versions of this. Right? They're studying their own versions of this. No, not you, Danielle. No, not you either. Okay. Almost. Almost. We're going to have one more spot here. Yeah. Probably regret that one. You think? So if we think through the last 3 hours, the mistakes are pre-flop. Almost all of them. Right? I didn't lose So we're coming to the end here, right? At some point here, and it's going to be fairly soon. Get down to 10 or so, we're going to end up having to ship, big cards. But but I also know that it's just one hand to make the money. Just so I got to hold on to blinds pretty tight. That was probably excessively tight, though. The randomness in my favor kind of was at the wrong time. Ace, king, ace, jack, back to back. With ace on the board and then jack on the board. It's not a good time to be running randomness and this just goes to show you, no matter how disciplined you are, you have to fight to basically not make the mistake on the next one, right? But that the process should have been the same, and that was clear. 3 big blind, 20% of my amount I have to call there. I was afraid of calling, and then some of these, like, up on the top over here has been, all right, so. So everybody's going to be eyeing the board, right? There's 80 people left. 330 people started. 64 paid. Multi-way all in. Okay. So you can see how close and thin this is, Fold here. Probably this orbit, we're probably going to have to let them rip in there. Which I'm going to have to accept, from that point. And if we make the money, we make the money. If we don't, we're going to finish very close to the bubble. I'm going to wonder... I'm going to go to the, time depository to try to get my 4 hours back that I will never see again, which is not sure if I'm going to, okay, so. All right, this is probably it. Oops. All right, that's it for me. That's it for me. Out of the money. Little unfortunate, lost by a tick. Happens. Well, now we've got plenty of material for the channel. Little bit of a bummer. I could have waited. Certainly could have waited. 6 is probably not high up enough. I don't think there's any question about that, but that's okay. How do we turn this thing off? All right, everybody. Good night.